All right. Well, officially, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Testimonial Tuesday. My name is John Elschuler, and this is really a lot of fun for me. I guess if this was called a job, it'd be one of the best jobs in the world that I get to take a little bit of time every Tuesday night to share an amazing story and hear a little bit about what type of things are happening with people that are enjoying the Black Oxygen product line. And it really is. It's like a little exploration every time because I always learn a little something that I didn't know before, and maybe a different way that the product is being used or the way that somebody's benefiting from it that's a new one on me. So it's always an enjoyable thing to get this information. So let's kick into gear with Testimonial Tuesday. As I mentioned to you, my name is John Elschuler. I am one of the master distributors along with Brian Smith out of Portland, Oregon. I'm out of Denver, Colorado. So I'm here in the US of A. And it's great to hear some of the stories last week and the week before. It seems like every week we have something that is just so powerful. And one of the neat things is you might hear your story tonight. You might hear a story that's affecting a friend or a family member that you know, and knowing if it did something great for somebody that possibly it will work for more than one person. It will work for somebody else as well. And before we kind of get into the details tonight, I want to start off with my little disclaimer. And the statements have not been evaluated by the FDA and the Drug Administration. What I mean by that is the comments that we're making tonight haven't been reviewed by those authorities. Our product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent or mitigate any disease. And that's important because, we don't talk about our product being a curative. We talk about bringing the body back into balance, back into homeostasis, giving the body the building blocks that it needs, and miraculous things do happen. And that is amazing to hear. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that journey tonight. And as we go into this, I want to tell you a little bit about the product. And that is that it's a very high potency. It's nutrient dense. Our product line has the power to rejuvenate, to restore, and revitalize your health and performance. So whether you're looking to deal with mineral deficiency, whether you're looking to rejuvenate your cells, and maybe you're trying to get a little bit more pep in your step, clear some of that brain fog, or restore something that's just really out of balance in your body, or perhaps you're a very competitive, high achieving athlete and you're looking for that legal unfair advantage. If that is you, I'm glad that you're here tonight. You're in the right place. But it's not about all the facts and figures I can give you tonight. It's about the information that we're going to have our guests share with us tonight. So let me introduce you to our guest. Her name is Leslie Milthorpe, and she is out of Toronto, Canada. She's had a career as a major account exec for Xerox years ago, and she considers herself now really a health navigator and a health advocate and a missionpreneur. And we're going to unpack a little bit of that tonight and find out exactly what that means. So Leslie, I'm going to stop the screen share and invite you to step forward here so we can have a chat with you tonight. Let me stop my share here, and Leslie will turn on her camera and join me here as we start to share. So Leslie, if you're with me tonight, I invite you to step forward here and be a part of our conversation here. Put your camera on so we can see you.
Okay, 1 second there.
All right, she's grabbing up her camera. So Leslie, I know that, there you go. Thank you so much. Oh. You'll come back. All right, there you are. So Leslie, you know where I like to start. This is like the great exploration for me. So here's the first question I have is, for most people, we hear information all the time. And most of us, it goes kind of in one ear and out the other, unless there's something happening in our lives that makes us go, wait a second. There's something in that was really interesting to me, and it might apply to me personally. So when this kind of came across your desk, your computer, however it was that this information got to you for the very first time, what was going on in your life that got you to kind of pay attention? What were some of those signals?
Well, I've been a fan of Superfood Solutions for, the last dozen years, really. I knew it was all about getting nutrient dense food into us, and that was always a challenge. So I looked for things that helped me in that regard. And I was a little bit familiar with fulvic because I was fascinated by the fact that this could be a transport system. So I used a product. It was a tincture that was just fulvic that helped me with that, and I often made recommendations about it. But then in speaking with you, and I learned about what humic was, well, that's the essence. That's what we really want to be bringing into our cells. That was really the magic of it. So the combination, I just said, yes, I want to know more, and I want to bring this to my community.
One of the things that is interesting, we hear about a product and and maybe we think about, well, we've had a scientific interest in that. And, oh, isn't that interesting? Is there a personal part of that story? Were you looking for something? Because, we're all looking, I think, for the key that unlocks the door to our best health. Is there something that you were looking for personally that maybe you were hoping this product might do for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always had a challenge with detoxification and being able to keep my weight in balance. I would tend to be a little bit puffy, always a bit of that layer of fat going around, that was hard to release. And I never knew what that was about. But it was just part of me. And again, that's why I sought out pure types of food. And this idea of a transport system just kept bugging me in the back of my mind, that I thought, is that the key that I need to unlock to release this stuff that's hanging on my body?
Well, I think that we all kind of have our own priorities, and then our bodies sometimes reshuffles the deck for us because it's got its own priorities. And I know that one of the areas that you've advocated and looked a lot at is not just cleaner choices with food or maybe plant-based foods, but you're also familiar with the toxicity. And this is one of those areas that I know that we've connected on in the past is, even things like glyphosate. We're living in a pretty toxic environment, and that has a different kind of outcropping for everybody in terms of what happens physically. Were there some particular signs or things that were happening for you that were kind of like, okay, maybe I'm getting a little overwhelmed here in this part of my body. I need something to help push that through?
Well, that's quite an emotional story for me. 25 years ago, we were looking to make a family, but we had also just built our home. And so we had new landscaping, and I have to admit, I was the Roundup queen. I sprayed that stuff everywhere because it was marketed as a clean or healthy alternative, for getting rid of weeds. And we had our issues with making a family. Now, we were lucky that we eventually were able to make our family through adoption, but we just could not make our own child, and yet there was no other parameters involving that. Now, 20 years later, or the last few years, I've begun to realize, I think that was what was holding us back. Was there was something that was not allowing that to happen. And the more I learned about glyphosate over the years, I really do know that has an effect on fertility. So so that was a big issue for me, was cleaning out the glyphosate and the pesticides, because I know that has a huge effect on your metabolism as well. So all these things just keep stacking up. Why do I have puffy hands and puffy feet? It just didn't make sense. And so I was always looking for what's going to be the trigger to release that. And I was so pleased that I discovered the humic aspect of fulvic acid that Black Oxygen Organics offers us, because that was the key, or as we say, the missing link.
Yeah.
Because it did make a change for me.
Wow. Well, one of the things, I mean, you're kind of like a little bit of a warrior for, educating people on glyphosate. I know you've been involved in some different movements with that. You obviously feel that there was some personal story to that, kind of personally ravaged by that. And I think that, and we really have never highlighted that issue really on a call before. And I think it's a really potent and important thing, because even now when I'm driving, during the warmer months, by a neighbor, and I see them out in the driveway spraying their weed with Roundup or doing their garden, I just want to stop and go, oh my gosh, I want to give them a card. I want to, I want to plaster something on their door, whatever the case may be. And so, I think what do you do to kind of get that message across? Because that seems like something that's so poignant. There's so much information now online about glyphosate and the poisoning and how that's ruining the microbiome and the immune system. And obviously, I think one of the things for me, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit here, even with weight, is that when we are confronted with a lot of toxicity, our body has a protective mechanism where it creates a fat cell, it wraps around the toxin, puts it on your hip, and you get to wear it around for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of manage this information?
Well, I don't hesitate to share with people whether or not they're ready to receive it or not. So yeah, I have become a bit of an advocate about that simply by sharing my story, just letting people become more aware, and people will be, some people are ready to receive it and others are not, but you can't help but know that the story is out there. I mean, it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. So now for me, when I first started with the product, I have to admit I started a little bit slow on it. I was on vacation. You were gracious enough to give me a few samples at the airport on my way out. So for the first month or so, it was kind of like here and there. And then I started a bit more consistently with it. Now, one thing I was dealing with, which I just put to aging, was I was getting like these bumps, these scaly things. Like it wasn't acne. It was just, I guess you could call them age spots. Oh my goodness. But these things were happening to me, and I was really quite concerned about it. But I noticed with over time, they started to disappear. And I thought, now what's that all about? And I didn't actually tie the two things together at first until I started upping my consumption. So from being sort of an irregular user to a daily user, and then eventually to like twice a day, these things literally were falling off. Like they were just disappearing, like no scar, nothing. And I thought, that's the only thing that's really changing here. So I thought, if that's cleaning up externally, it's got to be doing something pretty amazing on the inside as well. So I was really excited about that. Now, recently, the last few months, I decided to have sort of a mindset change too. I really thought a lot about releasing a lot of stuff, or releasing some emotional stuff. And it's interesting, the more I consumed the black oxygen, I did feel a vibrational high. And that's got to be the oxygenation. That's the only thing I can think of, because I'm thinking clearer. Now I'm doing like 2 or 3 servings a day. And I'm definitely feeling more energy, but it was a little bit more than that. It was like that vibrational buzz that was starting to happen. And when I went to 3 servings a day, guess what? The weight started to fall off. Like literally in the last month, doing 3 servings a day, I released 15 pounds.
Wow.
15 pounds. Like, wow. Like, I don't have the swelling anymore. My nails are amazing. Like my hair, despite the fact that I need a haircut, but look at it, like it's happening. Like, look at the thickness of it. I'm pretty thrilled about that. So I am definitely reverse aging. That's what's going on with me. And so I am just totally thrilled about that. The skin, the hair, the nails, the releasing of the edema, releasing of the fat, the vibrational energy. Like I made a post at the beginning of May, kind of went from meh to amazing in the month of March. So so I'm a little jazzed about it.
Okay, so a mess to amazing. Okay, I got that. So here's, one of the things I think is interesting because, when we think about health in this regard, we don't deteriorate overnight. We don't necessarily get super well overnight. Sometimes, depending on if we hit the exact right buttons, we might see a little springboard effect or something like that. What's your perspective through your own processes in terms of, kind of setting the expectation right? Because it's really disheartening for, and my wife and I, we've been through lots of different things. We've been to lots of different people for different things. And we always walk away or go away from those meetings going, okay, I got all this expectation around it. And maybe the regimen's super complicated, or maybe it looks like it's going to be not just 3 months, but 6 months or a year. What would you tell people from your perspective in terms of how to manage the expectation of wanting these things, but wanting to kind of stay in the game long enough to actually get them?
I think number one is you have to give yourself permission to be better. Like there is a psychological component to receiving goodness. And I mean goodness in terms of nutrition, good water, good air, good vibes. And it's been a tough year. The last 18 months has been tough for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us kind of, we're shrinking down and retreating. I know I was. And that's why I said, like in the beginning of the year, I said, I'm gonna start shaking things up and just releasing that stuff because it's not doing me any good. And it allowed me to receive more, to receive the goodness. And so, I mean, everybody's at a different place, both physically, mentally, spiritually. But I would just encourage people to be open to receive more and be patient with yourself. Experiment. I mean, treat your body with the respect that it should have. And again, when it comes to like superfood solutions, Mother Earth's original superfood, black oxygen organics, I think is the baseline for all of that. It truly is. I mean, I tell people, even if you don't take anything else, not a single vitamin, take this, because no matter what diet or what you're bringing into your body, you're going to be able to receive the best of the nutrients. You're going to be able to utilize that. You're going to get more money for more value for your food dollar that you're spending. So if people's if they're looking at, okay, I can only afford so much for supplements or whatever, but there's so much out there. I love the fact that this is just one thing. Just one thing. Like start with the hut.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah. Well, I know that, we have different preparations. Are you a fan of the bathing as well?
Not as often as I should, because again, I'm still working on that self-care aspect, like giving myself permission to,
To go lay in a bathtub?
get off the computer and go and have a bath and do a facial. I know I have loved it when I have. So I should get back into that ritual of a day a week. But again, I'm a work in progress, and
right.
so just as everyone is.
That is so true. So let me finally ask you kind of the final question of the night. And that is that, when people hear the information, whether it was, dealing with the toxic soup, you were talking about glyphosate and the impact on that, and just knowing that's a global story. It really affects pretty much everybody. I don't know who the people are that are excluded, but there may be a few here and there. But in addition to that, people are wondering if any of these things, would work for them. And people are, I think we're all inundated with all these different options. And we walk into the health food store and it says line after line after line. And we're like, what one should I try? And so what would you tell somebody who's listening to the information tonight and wondering if it will do any good for them, and should they give it a try? What might they want to consider, when stepping through this door? What would you tell somebody who's thinking about it, listening to your story tonight?
Well, you don't know what you don't know. And again, with it being so simple, I think we're inundated with a lot of stuff these days. Well, we are. I mean, that's a fact. It's coming from every direction. again, for information overload. So I really value the fact, again, that this is just one thing. And I say, give yourself permission to track your experience with this. Start with one serving a day, and just feel the experience. Like, allow yourself to experience it. Like, put it in your cup, and savor it. Just think good things when you're drinking it, because really, we have a lot of gratitude in those 60,000 years of decomposed nutrients, decomposed plants that are giving us these nutrients. So, just slow down a little bit and savor it. And I mean, we have a wonderful health tracker that even talks about your mind, the spirit, the mind, the body, how you're feeling through this experience. I always encourage people to track your experience, to journal it, and then go to 2 servings a day. Write down what your goals are, and I believe if you start to focus on the positive, it's all going to be connected. And yeah, so I just encourage you to
Fantastic.
start on the journey.
Start on the journey. Take a step forward. Let your body tell the story. Do it long enough that you can have that turnaround experience. And so, Leslie, I'm really glad you brought some highlight to the glyphosate story, because I think it's something that so many people need to be aware of. I mean, we all maybe want green grass without weeds, but it's not worth that, is it?
No, it's really not. And so I obviously encourage people to go with your native plants in your area, and hey, just get out the weeding stick and not the spray can.
Yeah. Now I was just seeing a question that came up in here that I think it's a good idea to spread it out during the course of the day. When you take multiple servings, do you space it out?
Oh, absolutely, because I'm so thrilled about the antiviral capacity of this. When I started reading the science about that, I said, bingo, like, this makes so much sense. Like, not only does it help to repel all those little sticky things that viruses have that stick to our cells, like it actually repels that, but it will help to release the viruses that are circulating in our system. We all have viruses. Like, I heard that if you ever had mono as a kid, chances are you also have the Epstein-Barr virus in your body, and it's just a matter of the wrong trigger happening that stuff can turn on again. And we all have herpes viruses. We have all kinds of viruses in our body. It's just a matter of what's the trigger that turns it on, right? So the antiviral capacity of it is just fascinating for me. So I want to repel, I want to release, I want to get those things out of me. And so having it in my body 24 hours a day is really, really important. I'll tell you, my routine is I have the coffee. I have the fulvic coffee first thing in the morning, okay? And then I'll have my little Power Green shake. And then about midday, I'll have, well, actually early afternoon more is when I'll have a midday meal. And then mid-afternoon, I'll have my second serving. And that will generally be the powder, because I just love the fact that the powder can go into any serving. If I feel like a hot tea, it goes in there. If I feel like a cold drink, it goes in there. And then have a light dinner. And then after dinner, I actually enjoy it after dinner, and I've been taking it with some magnesium powder as well, because that helps my body to relax. The black oxygen helps to get the magnesium into my body so I can start to relax. So three times a day, I'm making sure that it's in my body 24 hours a day now.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, you know what? I think we could talk for another half hour, but we're not going to tonight. We'll have you back, and we'll have a continuing update on your story. But Leslie, thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Well, thank you. It was a thrill to be able to share this, share my experience, and also I'm just so thrilled with the number of people that are learning about black oxygen and the community that we're building here.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thanks for sharing your story. And we know you'll be back again soon here to highlight some more fabulous information, everybody. That was Leslie Milthorpe from Toronto, Canada, right up there, close to the fire where the company is situated, actually up in Canada. So thanks again, Leslie.
Okay.
So as Leslie had talked about, and I'll highlight a couple of things for you, the additional benefits of fulvic acid, our particular version of humic fulvic acid, reducing oxidative stress, providing a powerful electrolyte. How that enhances recovery is amazing. Creating an alkaline environment for the body, which is definitely a healthier state of being, and continuing to support the delivery of 70 plus trace minerals into our body, providing this anti-aging environment. And oxygen is so important. So many of us live on the the fumes of our fuel, and that's oxygen. How about getting more of that directly into your cells, increasing oxygen up to 45%, improving brain function, memory, and mood, regenerating cells, supporting the absorption of nutrients. That is such a, it's not just what we eat, it's what we absorb that counts. So how about absorbing a few more of those nutrients, boosting metabolism and balancing your hormones? One of the things I love to share about our product is, as Leslie said, this is Mother Earth's original superfood store, from deep down in the earth in an uncontaminated, pristine area with 1,500 plus plants decomposing their vital life source energy that's available for us through this product. It is powerful. So with that being said, join us next week. We're going to have another story. We'd love to hear your stories at some point in time. Hopefully you'll give me a call and say, hey, I'd love to share my journey with the audience one of these nights. So whether you're drinking it, bathing in it, doing a face mask, putting it on your skin as a poultice, this is an incredible rejuvenating, healing energy that we can bring into our bodies. My name is John Altshuler. Here's my email if you'd like to get on the show and share your story, johnaltshuler@me.com, super simple. And we'll get to bring your story to a whole bunch of people that can say thank you for that great blessing. So we want to thank Leslie tonight for joining us. So as I like to say, next week is a new week. We'll see you then. Until then, all the health, all the abundance. Have an awesome week. All the love and all the power. Thanks for joining us tonight.